History is often painted as a neat timeline of monumental events and famous names, but that's just the surface. Beneath it lies a world of hidden truths, forgotten stories, and events so bizarre they completely reshape how we see the past. In this video, we're uncovering 15 stories that defy the history books. Tales of ingenuity, absurdity, and unpredictability that history teachers conveniently left out. These are the tales that 99% of people don't know. But once you hear them, you'll find that history is not just a series of events, but a rich tapestry that is full of surprises. Number 15. NASA's Space Tether Disaster. In February 1996, NASA and the Italian Space Agency attempted a bold experiment using a 12.4-mile tether to generate electricity in space. The idea was simple: drag the tether through Earth's magnetic field and create a current strong enough to power the shuttle. At first, everything went smoothly. The tether extended and the electrical current climbed as expected. Then, disaster struck. Just as the mission neared completion, the tether suddenly snapped, sending the satellite payload drifting into space. Investigations revealed a critical flaw. Tiny pinholes in the insulation allowed air to escape, creating a plasma discharge that short-circuited and melted the tether. While the press deemed it a failure, scientists saw it differently. The mission provided valuable data on tether-generated power and plasma physics, paving the way for future experiments. It was a costly lesson, but one that underscored the unpredictable nature of space exploration and the importance of meticulous engineering. So, stay away from space. Number 14. The Tomb of Genghis Khan. Victory did not come to the one who played by the rules. It came to the one who made the rules and imposed them on his enemy. These are the words of one of history's most ruthless conquerors, Genghis Khan. Despite reshaping the world through conquest, his final resting place remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Genghis Khan died on August 18, 1227, leaving strict orders that his burial site should never be revealed. According to legend, his escort killed every living thing encountered along the journey to the tomb. Once the grave was finished, the soldiers were executed, and the slaves who built the tomb were killed. In fact, anyone who knew the location or had any involvement in the burial was killed. Well, that's a little extreme. We mean, there are a few things you could do to ensure your secrets stay secret. But Genghis Khan was not taking any chances. Some theories suggest his tomb was hidden beneath a diverted river, while others claim a forest was planted over it. By Marco Polo's time, even the Mongols had lost all knowledge of its location. So, basically, no one knows where is the tomb. Number 13. The Battle of Los Angeles. On February 25, 1942, just months after Pearl Harbor, Los Angeles descended into chaos in what became known as the Battle of Los Angeles. Radar detected an unidentified object 120 miles west of the city, triggering fears of a Japanese air raid. Within minutes, air raid sirens blared. Searchlights scanned the sky, and anti-aircraft batteries opened fire, launching over 1,400 shells in a frenzied barrage. The panic was fueled by a recent Japanese submarine attack on an oil field near Santa Barbara, the first bombing of the U.S. mainland. Civilians watched in terror as explosions lit up the night, but when the dust settled, no enemy aircraft were found. The government later dismissed the event as a false alarm, possibly caused by a stray weather balloon. Though no enemy attack occurred, the incident highlighted the paranoia gripping wartime America, turning Los Angeles into a battleground of its own fear. So, never feel fear. Number 12. The Great Migration of Hibbing, Minnesota. In the 1920s, the town of Hibbing, Minnesota faced an impossible dilemma: stay put or move an entire town 2 miles south. The reason? A massive iron ore deposit sat directly beneath their feet, and the Oliver Mining Company wanted access. Rather than abandon their town, residents agreed to relocate it, buildings and all. With Mayor Victor Power securing mining company funds, the ambitious project began. Over 200 structures, including schools, were lifted onto wheels and carefully transported. Incredibly, some residents stayed inside their houses during the move, watching from their windows as their entire world shifted. The relocation, which took years to complete, remains one of the most remarkable engineering feats in American history. Hibbing's willingness to uproot itself symbolized the town's resilience and adaptability. Today, it stands as a testament to what communities can achieve when faced with tough challenges. Number 11. The remarkable living root bridges in Meghalaya. In the rain-drenched hills of Meghalaya, India, bridges aren't built, they're grown. For centuries, the Khasi and Jaintia tribes have perfected the art of living root bridges, Jinkyang Dri, weaving nature into infrastructure with stunning precision. Instead of stone or steel, they use the aerial roots of Ficus elastica trees, guiding them across rivers using bamboo scaffolding. Over decades, the roots naturally fuse together, forming bridges that are stronger, more resilient, and longer-lasting than most human-made structures. These bridges aren't just practical, they're ecological marvels. Unlike conventional bridges that erode over time, living root bridges grow stronger as they age. They prevent soil erosion, provide shelter for diverse plant and animal species, and even absorb carbon dioxide, making them a perfect blend of engineering and environmental harmony. Today, as cities worldwide struggle to integrate nature into urban design, Meghalaya's root bridges stand as a lesson in sustainable architecture. Number 10. The ingenious alternatives to toilet paper. Before the soft rolls of modern toilet paper, people had to get creative with their hygiene. Early humans relied on whatever nature provided, leaves, moss, and even sand, depending on the region. Agricultural communities turned to hay and corn husks, while coastal dwellers took a riskier route with seashells, which were about as comfortable as they sound. In colder climates, snow wasn't just for snowball fights. It was the go-to cleansing method, offering a frosty wake-up call every time. The Romans introduced one of the first specialized hygiene tools, the tersorium, a communal sponge on a stick. Kept in vinegar or salt water, it was meant to reduce disease, though sharing it wasn't exactly the height of sanitation. Wealthier Romans had it better, using wool soaked in rose water. The Greeks took a more personal approach, using smooth pebbles or broken pottery shards, often engraved with the names of their enemies, because nothing says revenge like wiping them out literally. China, however, led the way in true toilet paper innovation. As early as the 6th century, they were producing paper for personal hygiene. By the 14th century, the imperial court was rolling out mass-produced soft sheets, luxuries that wouldn't reach the Western world for centuries. Well, this is a pretty shocking secret of our past. Number 9. Fort St. Louis. In 1685, French explorer Robert Cavelier, Sieur de La Salle, aimed to claim land along the Mississippi for France. Instead, he missed by 400 miles, landing on the Texas coast. His ill-fated settlement, Fort St. Louis, was doomed from the start. Hastily built from salvaged wood, it had 8 cannons but no proper ammunition. Disease, starvation, and conflict with the Karankawa tribe quickly took their toll. By 1687, La Salle had left in search of help. When the Karankawa attacked in 1689, most of the remaining settlers were killed. Spanish forces later discovered the ruins, buried the cannons, and built their own fort, wiping France's failure from the landscape. Modern archaeology has since uncovered artifacts from the doomed colony, revealing a tragic but amazing story of misplaced ambition, survival struggles, and the harsh realities of European colonization. Fort St. Louis stands as a forgotten but cautionary tale of empire building gone wrong. Number 8. the Great Cat Massacre. In the 1730s, Paris, a bizarre and gruesome protest unfolded when printing apprentices, fed up with harsh treatment, staged what is now known as the Great Cat Massacre. These young workers endured long hours, meager food, and relentless abuse under their master, Jacques Vincent. With no real power to fight back, they took out their anger on his beloved cats, creatures that symbolized the privileges of their masters. The apprentices held a mock trial, convicting the cats of ridiculous crimes before brutally slaughtering them. To them, the massacre was an act of defiance, a way to mock their oppressors without openly rebelling. While disturbing by modern standards, the event reflected the deep class resentment brewing in pre-revolutionary France. This eerie episode remains one of history's strangest labor revolts, illustrating how frustration and powerlessness can manifest in dark and unexpected ways. Well, these dudes were crazy. Number 7, the mysterious island of the colorblind. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, Pingalap Atoll is home to an extraordinary genetic anomaly. Nearly 10% of its residents see the world in black and white. This rare condition, achromatopsia, is almost unheard of globally, affecting only 1 in 30,000 people, yet it is commonplace on this tiny island. The origin of this phenomenon dates back to 1775, when a catastrophic typhoon wiped out most of Pingalap's population. Among the few survivors was a king who unknowingly carried the achromatopsia gene. As the population rebounded, inbreeding amplified the condition, turning it into an everyday reality for many islanders. Despite extreme light sensitivity, some residents have adapted in unique ways. Their superior night vision allows them to excel at nocturnal fishing, spotting flying fish under torchlight. Scientists and travelers are fascinated by Pingalap, a living case study in genetics that highlights the unexpected ways nature and history intertwine. Number 6, the vanishing lake of Patagonia. In May 2007, Chilean scientists made a shocking discovery. A massive Patagonian lake had completely disappeared. Just 2 months earlier, this 215,000 square foot lake sat nestled between Glacier Tempanos and Glacier Bernardo. Now, only a deep, 98-foot crater remained, littered with stranded icebergs. NASA's satellite captured the lake's dramatic disappearance. Before and after images showed stark contrasts. Where water once reflected the sky, there was now only barren rock. Theories emerged quickly. A powerful earthquake may have fractured the glacial dam, draining the lake within hours. Sudden lake drainages are rare but not unheard of in glacial regions, where shifting ice and seismic activity can lead to dramatic landscape transformations. This event remains one of Patagonia's most striking geological mysteries. Number 5, the final echo of the Civil War. The Civil War ended in 1865, but Irene Triplett's life proved its legacy lasted much longer. Born in 1930, Irene was the last person to receive a U.S. Civil War pension, a living link to a war fought over a century before. Her father, Moses Triplett, fought for both sides, deserting the Confederacy to join the Union, which later ensured his pension eligibility. Due to a cognitive disability, Irene began collecting $73.13 a month in 1967 after her mother's passing. While not much, it symbolized a direct financial tie to a war that shaped America. Living in a North Carolina nursing home, she remained a quiet but powerful reminder that history isn't as distant as it seems. When Irene died in 2020 at 90, she closed the final chapter of Civil War pensions. Number 4, the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was the U.S. research program that led to the development of the first nuclear weapons during World War II. Conducted between 1942 and 1946, it was spearheaded by Robert Oppenheimer, with support from the United Kingdom and Canada. The project resulted in the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and cost an estimated $2 billion, $31 billion today, employing over 130,000 people. Despite its scale, secrecy was paramount. Only a few dozen people knew the full scope of the project, and most workers were kept in the dark about what they were building. Many operated under strict conditions, monitoring dials and performing tasks without knowing their purpose. Violating secrecy protocols carried a 10-year prison sentence. This level of secrecy ensured the Axis powers remained unaware and prevented sabotage. The Manhattan Project forever changed warfare, ushering in the nuclear age while remaining one of history's most tightly controlled operations. Number 3. The Culper Ring. During the American Revolutionary War, the Culper Ring was George Washington's most effective spy network, providing critical intelligence behind British lines. Formed in 1778 under the leadership of Major Benjamin Tallmadge, the group operated in British-occupied New York City, using coded messages, invisible ink, and elaborate cover stories to deliver secrets to the Continental Army. Among their most crucial discoveries was a British plot to attack newly arrived French forces in Newport, Rhode Island, and a scheme to counterfeit American currency. They also uncovered Benedict Arnold's treasonous plan to hand over West Point to the British, leading to the capture of Major John Andre, Arnold's British contact. The Culper Ring's operations were so secretive that even Washington didn't know all their identities. Though largely unknown to history, their intelligence proved instrumental in securing American independence, making them one of the most successful espionage groups of all time. Number 2. Cleopatra, the seventh Philopator. As the last ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, Cleopatra VII was a master strategist, aligning herself with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony in a bid to maintain Egypt's power. Her affair with Antony led to 3 children and a political alliance, but it also angered Octavian, Caesar's heir. After Antony's defeat at the Battle of Actium, 31 BCE, Octavian invaded Egypt. Faced with the humiliation of being paraded through Rome as a captive, Cleopatra took her own life, likely by poison rather than the traditional asp bite. Despite his victory, Octavian allowed Antony and Cleopatra to be buried together, an unusual act of generosity. For nearly 2,000 years, the location of their tomb has remained a mystery. Whether intentionally hidden or simply lost to time, Cleopatra's final resting place remains one of history's most sought-after archaeological treasures. Number 1. Jack the Ripper. In 1888, the streets of London's Whitechapel district became the hunting ground of an unidentified serial killer, now known as Jack the Ripper. Over several months, at least 5 women, all prostitutes, were brutally murdered and mutilated, their bodies discovered with deep throat slashes and internal organs removed. Due to the surgical precision of the attacks, many believed the killer had medical training. Speculation ran wild, but despite countless theories and over 100 potential suspects, the Ripper was never caught. Among modern suspects are Montague John Druitt, Aaron Kosminski, and Saurin Kwasowski, while contemporary theories suggest figures like Thomas Cutbush or Frederick Deeming. Theories persist, but with no definitive evidence, the case remains unsolved. More than a century later, Jack the Ripper's true identity is still one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history, leaving behind a legacy of fear, speculation, and unanswered questions. If you find this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.